Welcome to the deep dive. Okay, let's kick things off with maybe a slightly strange question for you. What if we told you that the health of your biggest arteries, the ones feeding your legs or even your heart, what if their future health is being kind of secretly previewed by the health of your smallest arteries? Specifically, that blood flow situation. Well, let's just say your health in the bedroom. It's often the first, awkward warning sign that your body's whole plumbing system, writ large, really needs a serious overhaul, like now.
That's absolutely right. And our mission today really is to help you understand the body's own powerful, natural ways to handle this. The alternatives to just reaching for the standard fixes for what people call erectile dysfunction, or ED. We're going to unpack why focusing on lifestyle, natural stuff actually gets to the root cause instead of just like papering over a crack. And let's just clear up the biggest misunderstanding right away. ED, it's a vascular problem. Full stop.
Circulation.
Yeah, circulation. It's not simply about low testosterone. Low T, that affects libido, mood, sure.
Yeah.
But getting blood where it needs to go when it needs to, that's purely about the pipes.
Okay, pipes. Let's zoom in on those pipes then. We need to talk about the artery walls themselves, right? Specifically the endothelial layer, that, single layer of cells lining every blood vessel?
Exactly. It's incredibly delicate and it lines everything. Think of your arteries like, I don't know, a super exclusive nightclub.
Okay.
To get the blood flowing, to get that party started, you need a specific molecular bouncer. It's called nitric oxide, or NO. This NO molecule basically tells the smooth muscles in the artery wall to relax, opens the doors, that's vasodilation, and lets the blood flow in.
Right, the velvet rope relaxes. So this NO bouncer, how crucial is it really?
Oh, it's absolutely critical, fascinatingly so. Without enough nitric oxide, those arteries just stay tense. The muscles can't relax, and the blood flow is just, it's physically not enough to do the job. We see this in animal studies. When researchers completely blocked NO production, total immediate failure erections. It's the key molecule for this specific function.
And here's where it gets, really interesting and, frankly, a bit depressing for anyone over 30.
Uh-oh.
Your body's own NO factory, the one making this bouncer molecule, it just starts winding down as you age. It's purely calendar-driven. So, in your 20s, you're at 100% capacity, humming along.
Yep, peak performance.
By the time you hit 50, you're down to maybe 55%.
That's a big drop.
And if you make it to 70, you're working with a measly 25% of what you had.
Wow.
So this natural decline, it just means your buffer, your margin for error from, bad diet or stress, it gets tiny.
And that decline is exactly why so many people reach for those pharmaceutical options, like Viagra. But you have to understand what that pill actually does.
Right. It doesn't make more bouncers, does it?
No, exactly. It doesn't increase your NO production at all. It just stops the existing NO, the bouncers you do have, from, let's say, clocking off early. It blocks an enzyme called PDE5. Think of PDE5 as the cleanup crew that normally degrades nitric oxide after it's done its job.
So Viagra just tells the cleanup crew to take a long break.
Pretty much. It maintains whatever NO you have for a bit longer, giving it more time to work. But it's a temporary patch.
And other than that, you're perfectly fine.
If only. Yeah, I'm being deeply sarcastic there.
Yeah.
Because while it works for some, it comes with, let's call them side effects. You've got the common stuff.
Yeah.
Headaches, flushing, maybe some low blood pressure.
Okay.
Manageable, maybe.
But then you get the really alarming ones. Increased risk of heart attack, stroke, permanent hearing loss, seeing everything tinted blue.
That blue vision thing is real. It's called cyanopsia.
Wild. And of course, the one everyone knows about, those prolonged, painful erections that can cause actual permanent damage. So, yeah, that's why we're focusing on natural ways. We want more bouncers, not just, forcing the last one to work overtime under duress.
Precisely. So, if the lack of nitric oxide is the immediate issue, the thing causing the poor circulation right now, then the elephant in the room, the big upstream problem that starts this whole mess, is insulin resistance.
Okay.
That's the main driver, the long-term trigger for the chronic inflammation and the damage to that delicate endothelial lining we talked about.
The artery lining.
Yes. And those tiny blood vessels, the ones involved here, they're like the canary in the coal mine. When they start failing, it's often a 3 to 5 year heads up for major heart problems down the line.
Okay, I'm struggling a bit with the connection there. You eat too many refined carbs, too much sugar, right?
Yeah.
That spikes your insulin. But you also said insulin can increase NO, at least temporarily. So why does doing that all the time, chronically spiking insulin, actually make things worse? It feels like a paradox.
It is a paradox, and it boils down to your body basically tuning out. Imagine constantly yelling at your roommate about taking out the trash.
Okay, yeah. Eventually, I'd just ignore them.
Exactly. When you constantly flood your system with high levels of insulin, your cells develop resistance. They stop responding properly to the signal. They tune it out. And then that high level of insulin just circulating in your blood, it becomes toxic itself, especially to that endothelial lining.
Ow.
It directly triggers inflammatory pathways. And it creates something called shear stress on the artery walls, basically. Physical friction and damage just from the way the blood flows under those conditions.
So even though your blood is swimming in insulin, your cells are acting like they're starved of it. And that leads to inflammation, lack of oxygen.
Right. Hypoxia at the tissue level.
Hmm.
And over time, what does damaged tissue do? It tries to repair itself, but often with scar tissue. That's fibrosis.
Internal scarring?
Yes. And plaquing. This fibrosis stiffens the arteries, narrows them permanently. It literally starves the muscles, including the smooth muscles needed for this function of fuel and oxygen. The circulatory problem causing ED is, in almost every single case, the exact same process happening silently in the arteries around your heart, just on a smaller, earlier scale.
Wow. Okay. And this damage, this silent process, how long does it take?
It often develops for 15, maybe even 20 years before you'd ever be flagged as pre-diabetic based on standard tests.
The usual A1C test, the 3-month blood sugar average, might look totally fine for years while this is brewing.
Absolutely. That's why it's often missed. The real actionable insight here, the best early warning test, is a fasting insulin test.
Not fasting glucose, but fasting insulin.
Correct. You want that number ideally below 7, even better if it's below 5. If your fasting insulin's high, even if your blood sugar looks normal, it means your body is already overproducing insulin just to keep things stable. That's the smoking gun for established insulin resistance and ongoing inflammation.
Gotcha. And we should probably mention, it's not always just diet, right? Sometimes necessary medications can, unfortunately, contribute.
That's true. We definitely see issues with certain drug classes.
Yeah.
SSRIs are a big one, the common antidepressants and anti-anxiety meds. They mess with serotonin signaling, which is involved in sexual function.
Okay. What else?
Beta blockers, often used for high blood pressure. They work by restricting smooth muscle response to lower pressure.
But that restriction isn't just in the heart vessels.
Exactly. It affects smooth muscles everywhere, including where you need relaxation for blood flow.
Makes sense.
And then there are the 5-alpha reductase inhibitors. These are drugs used for things like prostate enlargement or sometimes male pattern baldness.
Like Propecia or finasteride?
Yes, those types. They directly interfere with testosterone metabolism pathways and can cause significant issues with function, sometimes even after stopping the drug. And even in men who are otherwise perfectly healthy vascularly. Okay, so we've established the root problems. Dwindling nitric oxide, chronic inflammation driven mainly by insulin resistance, and maybe some medication interference.
How do we actually fight back? How do we boost that NO bouncer safely, naturally, without needing sunglasses indoors?
Right. Let's get into the natural toolkit. And it starts really with food, the dietary superstars for NO production.
Leomami.
Top of the list, no question, are beets. They're packed with natural nitrates that your body converts directly into nitric oxide.
How much of a boost are we talking?
Potentially huge. Some estimates suggest they can increase NO availability by like 200%.
Wow, that's massive. How do you even eat that many beets?
Well, that's why concentrated beet juice powders are really popular. Easier to get the dose. Although, fun fact, technically arugula is even higher in nitrates per gram.
Arugula?
Really?
But yeah, who's eating pounds of arugula salad every day? You'd need a dedicated farming operation.
Exactly. Not practical. So beets are usually the go-to.
Okay, what else? Something maybe tastier.
Definitely. How about dark chocolate?
Now you're talking.
But it has to be the good stuff.
Yeah.
85% cacao or higher. The flavonoids in really dark chocolate can give you a nice, reliable 25% boost in NO.
25% just from chocolate, I can get behind that. And another good one, pomegranate. Again, often taken as a juice or concentrate, that can provide around a 30% boost. Beets, dark chocolate, pomegranate. Got it. What about beyond diet? Exercise.
Oh yeah, exercise is incredibly potent. You can get an 80% to even 100% increase in NO production from a good workout.
But does the type of exercise matter?
It really does. For boosting NO specifically, intensity seems key. So things like high-intensity interval training, HIIT.
Like sprints or Tabata.
Yeah, exactly. Or heavy resistance training, lifting weights. Those seem to be better for NO than, say, long, slow-distance running.
Why is that?
Long endurance stuff can sometimes raise cortisol, the stress hormone, quite a bit. And cortisol is like kryptonite for NO production and circulation. It clamps things down. Short, intense bursts seem to trigger the NO release more effectively without the prolonged cortisol hit.
Interesting. And you mentioned something extreme, hypoxia training.
Ah, yes. Intermittent hypoxia training. This is definitely more advanced. Usually involves wearing a special mask that restricts your air intake for short periods, maybe 10, 20 seconds at a time during exercise.
Sounds unpleasant. Why do it?
It simulates being at high altitude. By creating that brief oxygen debt, your body freaks out a little and sends powerful signals to build more infrastructure. It stimulates the growth of new capillaries, tiny blood vessels everywhere.
So it's not just for this issue, it helps overall circulation, heart, brain.
Exactly. It's a systemic effect, a way to sort of hack your body into rapidly improving its entire delivery network. Pretty dramatic stuff.
Okay. Let's move to supplements. What actually works? You hear about L-arginine a lot.
Right. L-arginine is the amino acid the body uses directly to make NO. So it makes sense to supplement it, right?
Seems logical.
But the problem is, when you take L-arginine orally, a lot of it gets broken down in your gut and liver before it even reaches the bloodstream where it's needed. It's not very efficient.
But what's the smarter move?
L-citrulline. It's another amino acid, kind of a precursor.
Wait, so taking the step before arginine is better? Why?
Because L-citrulline takes a different route. It bypasses that breakdown in the gut and liver, travels to the kidneys, and then gets efficiently converted into L-arginine right where it can be used by the blood vessels.
Ah, like a protected delivery system.
Exactly. This way, you get a much more sustained increase in arginine levels and therefore NO production
Yeah.
that lasts for maybe 3 to 5 hours compared to a quick spike and crash with arginine alone.
Okay, L-citrulline makes sense. Now,
Okay.
we have to talk about the one with the unforgettable name.
Ah, yes. Horny goatweed.
Sounds like something from a medieval potion shop. Does it actually do anything, or is it just the name?
It actually does. It's quite fascinating, botanically known as epimedium. It contains a compound called acarian, which acts as a mild, natural PDE5 inhibitor.
Like Viagra, but natural.
Similar mechanism, yeah. It helps keep the NO around longer. Studies show it can significantly improve function and does increase NO, but there's a crucial catch.
Which is?
It's fat-soluble,
Okay.
meaning if you just swallow a capsule with water, you won't absorb much of the active compound. Your body needs fat to transport it into your system.
So you need to take it with food, with
Yeah.
some healthy fat.
Yes, exactly. Take it with a meal containing avocado, olive oil, nuts, something like that. Or, interestingly, some formulations add black pepper extract, piperine, which also dramatically increases its absorption, its bioavailability.
Good tip. Okay, what else is in the natural arsenal?
Well, if mood issues like depression or anxiety are part of the picture for someone, saffron is a really interesting option.
Saffron, the spice.
Yep. It primarily works on the central nervous system, helping with mood. But studies show it also provides a mild boost to nitric oxide. So it's a good 2-for-1 in those cases.
And for stress. If someone knows chronic stress is tanking their system,
Then ashwagandha is probably the top pick. It's an adaptogen herb, meaning it helps your body cope with stress better. It directly lowers cortisol levels.
and less cortisol means.
Less interference with NO production and better overall hormonal balance. It helps stabilize the system so the other interventions can work better.
Makes sense. Are there any basic vitamins or minerals that are super important here, like foundational stuff?
Absolutely. Can't forget the cofactors. Zinc is critical. It's involved in testosterone production, which helps with libido, and it plays a role in improving insulin sensitivity.
Okay, zinc.
Your B vitamins are crucial for the enzymatic processes that actually manufacture NO. Think of them as the factory workers.
Got it. B complex.
And maybe most importantly, vitamin D. It's fundamentally involved in reducing systemic inflammation and directly helps endothelial cells produce more nitric oxide. Getting your vitamin D levels optimized is huge.
So zinc, B vitamins, vitamin D, the basics really matter.
They're non-negotiable building blocks.
Okay, which brings us to the absolute foundations, the stuff you can't supplement your way out of.
Right. You can drink beet juice till you're purple and pop L-citrulline all day.
But if the foundation's cracked,
Nothing's going to work properly.
Yeah.
And the number one foundation, sleep.
sleep. Always comes back to sleep.
7 to 8 hours of quality, deep rest. That's when your body does its repair work, restores hormonal balance, and crucially, rebuilds its nitric oxide reserves. It's non-negotiable.
Any tips for better sleep, specifically for this? One simple one. Sleep cool. A cooler bedroom temperature helps your body drop into those deeper, more restorative sleep stages. Okay, sleep cool, got it. What about an instant fix? If you're feeling stressed right now, can you do anything to immediately help circulation?
Yes. The quickest biological hack is to activate your parasympathetic nervous system, the rest and digest state. Stress, the sympathetic fight or flight state, instantly constricts blood vessels.
So how do you flip the switch?
The simplest way, nasal breathing, slowly, evenly, through your nose.
Just breathing through my nose calms me down and helps, I know.
It does. Nasal breathing increases CO2 levels slightly in your blood, which paradoxically improves oxygen release to tissues. And the slow, rhythmic nature directly signals your brain to shift into that calm, parasympathetic, circulation-friendly state. It's an instant NO trigger.
Wow. Okay, simple but powerful. What about long-term cleanup, things to avoid?
Seed oils, soybean, corn, canola, sunflower oils.
Mm.
They're loaded with omega-6 fatty acids, which, in excess, are highly inflammatory and destabilize the membranes of your blood vessel cells.
Let's swap those out for...
Healthy fats, especially omega-3s, fish oil, or even better, cod liver oil, because that gives you vitamin D and vitamin A along with the omega-3s. Olive oil, avocado oil, too.
And the obvious ones?
Yeah, the obvious ones. Alcohol and smoking are direct NO killers. They cause immediate vasoconstriction and long-term endothelial damage. Got to minimize or avoid them.
Okay. Before we get to, the really heavy-duty stuff, is there anything free, something anyone can do?
Absolutely. And it's surprisingly effective. Kegel exercises, pelvic floor exercises.
Kegels
Really?
for this.
Yes. Studies have shown significant improvements. One major study found that around 40% of men with ED regain normal function just by doing regular pelvic floor exercises.
40% just from an exercise. That costs nothing.
Exactly. It strengthens the muscles that support blood flow and function in that specific area. Zero cost, potentially huge benefit.
Incredible. Okay, so what if someone has done the diet, the supplements, the Kegels, but they have a long history, maybe diabetes or heart disease, and there's actual physical damage, like that fibrosis, the scarring you mentioned?
Right. If there's already established structural damage fibrosis, plaquing that you can often see on an ultrasound, then you might need something more intensive to break it down. That's where shockwave therapy comes in.
Sounds intense. What is it?
It's formally called low-intensity extracorporeal shockwave therapy, or LI-ESWT. It uses focused acoustic waves applied externally, non-invasively.
Like sound waves.
Yeah, basically.
Mm.
These waves help to break up that existing scar tissue and plaque within the small blood vessels. And importantly, they also stimulate the growth of new healthy blood vessels in the area angiogenesis.
So it's kind of like renovating the damaged pipes.
It's a decent analogy. It's usually reserved for cases where the underlying structure is already compromised from long-term disease. It's not a first-line approach, more of an extreme measure when needed.
Okay, that makes sense. So wrapping this all up, what's the big picture takeaway for everyone listening?
The big picture is that the health of your arteries, all your arteries, is systemic. What happens in the smallest vessels is a direct reflection and often an early warning for what's happening in the largest ones. This specific circulatory issue we've been discussing, it's not just some isolated bedroom problem. It's a bright red flag. It's a powerful predictor of your future cardiovascular health, your heart health, even your brain health.
So you're not really suffering from a Viagra deficiency. Definitely not. You're dealing with a loss of your body's own natural signaling molecule, that nitric oxide bouncer. And that loss is almost always driven by lifestyle. Insulin resistance from diet, inflammation from things like seed oils, chronic stress, poor sleep. We spent all this time talking about what to put in your body, right? The beets, the L-citrulline, the zinc. But maybe the final thought should be about what you're actively, maybe unknowingly blocking. Are you blocking deep sleep? Are you blocking that calm state with constant stress and shallow breathing? Are you blocking healthy circulation with inflammatory foods? You're essentially shutting down the systems that work perfectly when you were 20. And if, like you said, 40% of men can potentially fix this just by doing a free pelvic floor exercise, well, what small, maybe even free change could you make starting tonight? What tweak could start improving the plumbing, not just for this, but for your whole life?